We will start with a bit of polity. There was news recently regarding the relevance of something called as contempt of court. Okay. So first of all, you have to understand what is contempt of court, what are the provisions under which it has come into being, from where this contempt of court power is derived. Okay. And also the relevance, whether it is needed, whether it is not needed, are there any recommendation, are there any cases related to it? Okay. So first and foremost, what do you mean by contempt of court? See, contempt of court is a power which is available to the court. Okay. Court means it is available to High Court, it is available to Supreme Court, the major courts of India. So, under which provisions does the contempt of court come? See, the contempt of court comes under Article 129 and Article 142 of the Constitution. Okay, there are constitutional provisions related to this. Okay, for punishing contempt of court, including the power to punish. That means the court has a power to punish those people who do not obey the the recommendations of the court. Actually, there is also an act. See, there are constitutional powers, Article 129 and 142, from which contempt of court is derived. In the same way, there is a dedicated act, Contempt of Court Act 1971. Why this is in news is due to the relevance of this. Many critics are saying there is no need of Contempt of Court Act 1971, while some say that it is needed. So there is a discussion. See, in UPSC, every time the questions come on debates. So whenever there are some debates going on, especially the debates, there will be different scholars who discuss the positives and negatives of it. There will be a government position to that. We always know what is the government position related to that. So the relevance of this contempt of court is being questioned in these days. That is why contempt of court was in news. Then the objective. The objective of contempt is stated to safeguard the interest of the public. If the authority of the court is being generated and public confidence is weakened or eroded. See, court is considered as the supreme organization to resolve problems, right? See, whenever we have a problem with someone, we used to file a case, right? Just imagine a situation when the judgment of the court is not obeyed by anyone. Okay, that means people will not believe in the process of judiciary. Okay, so that is where the contempt of court comes into being. So if a judgment of the court is not obeyed, there is high chances that person can be punished or that entity can be punished. That is the main purpose of contempt of court. See, there are two types of contempt. There is civil contempt and there is criminal contempt. Let's look into detail. This is, see, these articles can come in handy for prelims as well as mains. In prelims, there can be a question like Article 122 and Article 142 relates to what? In mains, if you get a question related to contempt of court, any question related to contempt of court, you can always start your introduction by quoting these articles. Okay, then civil and criminal cases. See, this is also important for your prelims. Why? Because a question can come whether the contempt is only civil in nature. There can be a statement like that. Okay, or they can give you a statement like the contempt of court is only criminal in nature. No, it is both civil as well as criminal in nature. See, the first one, this talks about civil contempt of court. So what is civil contempt of court? Under Section 2B of the Contempt of Courts Act 1971, civil contempt has been defined as willful disobedience to any judgment, decree, direction, order, writ, or other process of a court, or willful breach of undertaking given to a court. See, for example, somebody have filed a case. Just imagine a situation, the court have given a judgment regarding a land dispute. Two brothers are fighting for a property and the court has given a judgment giving equal shares to each brothers. Imagine a situation in which the brothers do not agree to this. Okay, they have the chance to go for an appeal. Rather than going appeal, if one forcibly takes the property of other, it is considered as a contempt of court, or they can even go and criticize it. That means if this should be willful, okay, willful, that means they know they are doing that. Such kind of thing is known as civil contempt. Now let us understand what we mean by criminal. So it comes under section 2C. If you are able to code this section correctly, it is very good because that can make your answer specific. Even if you don't know the exact section, just mentioning the contempt of Court Act 1971 will also be good. Okay. According to that, a criminal contempt has been defined as the publication where by words spoken or written or by signs or by visible representation of matter doing act which scandalizes or tends to scandal or lower the authority of the court, prejudices and interferes or tends to interfere with the judicial proceedings, interferes or tends to interfere with or obstruct or tend to obstruct the administration of justice in any matter. That means actions which directly affect the delivery of justice. That means a person willfully works to demean the judiciary. That means they can come and criticizing in public media, in social media, criticizing or making derogatory remarks about the court. These are considered as contempt, especially criminal contempt. Okay, so the problem with this is the vagueness actually. See, it is even in the definition, it is mentioned, see, even by science. See, it can change with person to person. That means by showing a sign, how can we be 100% sure that is against the code? So these are certain areas which we have to discuss. Okay. Now we will look for some points which support the contempt of court. That means argument in favoring of the contempt provision. Actually, it is said that we have discussed that the articles 129 and 142 are there, which give the power, which give the power to Supreme Court to initiate the contempt of court. So it is said that even if we abolish the act, which act? The Contempt of Court Act 1971, still the court can use this contempt with the provisions related to Article 129 and 149. That is one argument. So arguments in favor, that means increasing intensity with the start of social media as a revolution. Everybody thinks he's an expert in everything, right? We have almost everybody have an opinion on everything. Previously, the situation was that we have to read newspapers and we have to give suggestions. We might give it to our family and friends. It will not come in the public domain. But with the advent of social media, this was like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc. Everybody is like an expert. Everybody can give opinion, even how much biased it is. Sometimes a small tweet or a small message or Facebook or WhatsApp can bring in big tensions, even community tensions, violence, etc. So in such a situation, there is an increasing interest of contempt and scandalizing people. Like for example, there are YouTube influencers, Instagram influencers who criticize the court, government, just like that, without even having the sound proof or without having the sound knowledge. So the continuing number of the cases justifies that there should be a contempt provision. Otherwise, people will lose the trust on the process of judiciary. Then, civil contempt is necessary as willful disobedient litigants who ignore the orders of the court cannot be let off. It will seriously affect the administration of justice and trust of people. See, if people started willfully disobeying the judgments, then who will go and file a case? Rather than going and filing a case, we will resort to fighting with that person in public. So civil contempt is extremely necessary. Why? Because otherwise the people will not obey the judgment given by the court. Okay, and the another problem is that there is not definition of criminal contempt in the act. See, the act which we mentioned, there was not a concrete or there are vagueness in the definition. Okay, different commissions from time and again have suggested that there should be a definition, a proper definition, so that the clarity is being there regarding the use of contempt. Now let us discuss some. Now let us discuss certain arguments against returning the contempt of provision. See, the problem is that uh, this contempt of court many a time is used by court etc. in see, in in stopping or curtailing freedom of speech. That means, as I already told, that the definitions are vague, and as the definitions are weak, there is a high chance powerful people, especially in the court, etc., they can use this in a negative way. That means they can use it to stop free speech. That means even if the judiciary has done something bad, people will be afraid to say, or if they will be afraid to speak up, or they will be afraid to raise voice against them. So that is an issue. The law for criminal contempt gets in conflict with India's democratic system, which recognizes freedom of speech and expression, which is a fundamental right under Article 90. That is one thing. And the definition of criminal contempt in India is extremely wide and can be easily invoked for anything. I already told you, even by mere sign, it is assumed a person can demean the court. So just by standing or laughing, or sometimes even showing small uh, facial expressions can be taken as a contempt of court. Okay, that is why truth and good faith has valid difference in contempt. But the judiciary do not many a time entertain this. Okay, what do you mean by entertain? That means even if somebody criticizes the court, even by giving valid truth and evidences, the court many a time doesn't listen to this, rather than they criticize or invoke contempt of court. Okay, that is so. See, in mains exam, when you write answers, you should always substantiate it with examples. And one of the very good examples you can give are cases. Okay, that means related to contempt provision, if you know a case in which Supreme Court has given a judgment or a High Court has given a judgment, it will enhances your value of your answer. See, in contempt of course, in case like S. Mugolkar versus Anong in 1978, the Supreme Court held that the judiciary cannot be immune from fair criticism, and contempt action is to be used only when an obvious misstatement and malicious intent seeks to bring down public confidence in the courts. See, if that should be taken down as a contempt of court only when there is ample evidence that this person has done that demean the judiciary. Rather than criticizing some bad activities of the judiciary, a person or an entity cannot be taken for a contempt action. So you can quote these cases, Mugolkar case, S. Mugolkar case 1978, as an example where the Supreme Court itself have told that contempt of court provision should not be used for unnecessary purposes. Then it does not recognize one of the basic principles of natural justice, that means no man shall be a judge of his own cause. Thus, in contempt proceedings, the court arrogates itself as a judge, jury, and executioner. Even it is said that in all the cases, one person cannot be the judge, jury, and executioner. In the contempt of court, it is the court that act as a judge, jury, and executioner. So those are some arguments which are against the contempt provision. So, so there are different arguments which support and negate this contempt of provision. So we have to understand what is the government stand. The government, especially recently, the Law Commission has stated that presently there is no big happening, which is around the corner, which we should change the contempt provision. So it is going kind of smoothly. So what we can do is that we can go through this, we can continue with this contempt of provision, just making it a bit more transparent. That is why the Law Commission has once told that the judicial accountability, okay, and the judicial transparency, it act as two sides of a coin. That means both are needed. Okay, the judicial accountability is needed. Okay, and the same way transparency is also needed. In such a scenario, contempt provisions can really help. Okay, it can give the court its accountability. Okay, court can say that okay, if you don't move this, we can, you know, charge you for that. And the issues such as truth and good faith being added can also increase the transparency of the court. That means if court do something bad, there is a high chance the media, etc., can criticize the court. Okay, so these are certain such arguments with respect to contempt provisions. Any doubt? Any doubt? See, every year in the mains question, you will get at least one question in GS paper 2 with related to judiciary. So it's better you understand whatever is happening. Okay, for example, we will discuss today, Supreme Court came with a recent judgment with related to same-sex marriages. Okay, so we should always be aware of what is the judiciary is doing, because actually see, in India there is a constitution, right? There is a government also. So whatever the government is doing is actually interpreting the constitution, and they are coming with laws, and the final judgment of this is given by the judiciary. So that is some or the other way considered as the final way of interpreting the constitution. So you should always be aware what the Supreme Court is doing. What are the different judgments given by the Supreme Court? Okay. Another important thing we should discuss is Amazon River. So why is Amazon River in this? Because Amazon River and Amazon rainforest, which is around the Amazon River, actually absorb more carbon than anything in the world. So it is highly important that that ecosystem stays stable so that we can arrest the climate change. So why it is in news? Because the Amazon River, the Amazon River has been undergoing drought in the recent times, because you know the climate change, the less amount of rainfall, etc., means that the river is becoming drought. That means if the river do not have proper water, the ecosystem will die. The species, especially fishes, etc., die. The rainforest or the trees which are surrounding gets water from this river, that also goes. See, the drought blocking the Amazon is a worrying portrait of the climate changes facing the world. And where is this Amazon River located? That is one thing which we should know. Okay, it is located in South America. Okay, it is located in the Amazon rainforest in the northern portion of South America. One of your homework for today, one of your homework for you today is that find out all the countries through which the Amazon River passes. This is extremely important. Do not miss it, because UPSC have a tendency to ask such questions. Okay, countries through which rivers passes. Okay, so find out, because I have told you it is located in South America and there are many countries through which the Amazon River passes. Make a list and develop some mnemonics if possible to study or remember these countries. Okay, that is one thing you should know. So where does it originate? It originates in the Andes mountain regions of Peru. Okay, so it originates in Peru. It flows eastwards and meandering around 4,000 miles. That means around 6,400 kilometers. Meandering means going like this, zigzag, zigzag. That is meandering. Then 1/3 of its length is in Peru. 2/3 is in Brazil before emptying into the Atlantic Ocean. So it passes through Peru and Brazil and also other countries also. You have to find out that. Then this Amazon river is separated into three sections: the upper Amazon, lower Amazon, and the mouth. Okay, let's just understand this. In this, what the catch is that you should understand where Amazon river is located. It is located in South America. Understand the countries through which Amazon river passes, where it originates. It originates in the Andes river, Andes mountains especially, which happens to be Peru. Okay, information related to uh, Amazon river. It is the second longest river in the world, second to river Nile. Where is Nile located? Nile is located in Africa. So the second longest river, Amazon, it is located in South America and it originates in Peru. Okay, Andes Mountains in Peru. Okay, that is one thing you have to understand. It is the second largest river or second longest river, but in the amount of water being carried, okay, or the amount of drainage done, this is larger than even Nile, because Nile happens to be in Africa and it has some kind of a desert type of climate. So rather than Nile, it is Amazon which covers more volume of water. Okay, that is why it is important. And another important thing is that it contains the most freshwater fish species in the world, with more than 2,700 species, and around which 1,700 are endemic. Endemic means endemic species are certain species which are found only in certain locations. That means if 1,700 are endemic to Amazon, it means that they are present only in those areas. You cannot find that in India. You cannot find that in United States of America. You cannot find that in Nile or Africa. So 2,700 species are there, and of them 1,700 are endemic. And you have to also understand that this 2,700 species are at risk. Why? Because the drought can kill all the species. Just understand the areas through which this passes. Okay, it gets formed in somewhere over Peru, and it grows and it flows eastwards to the Atlantic Ocean. So this is the drainage area of the Amazon forest. So see which all the countries it passes through. Some of it is in Ecuador, Colombia, Guyana. Okay, it is also present in Brazil, Bolivia. So make a list of the countries through which Amazon river flows. Okay. And similarly, make a habit to understand the main rivers of in and around the world. Okay, so one is Nile. Nile is in Africa. Amazon is there. You can find in South America. In Asia, we have Indus. India, we have Ganga and Yamuna. In Asia, we have another called as Yangtze. In North America, there are different rivers. Uh, just make a note of the important rivers in and around the world. Okay, there is a river called as Danube. These are important rivers which are extremely important in and around the world. Okay, so make a habit to understand where these rivers originate, which areas it drain, and to which ocean or landmass it flows. Here, Amazon River flows out to Atlantic Ocean. Okay, similarly, Ganga, Yamuna, etc., we can say it flow out to Bay of Bengal. Okay, so the things which you should understand is where it originates, which areas they flow through, and where they drain out. These are important things you should understand. Okay, because you see, rivers are the lifeline of any civilization. In the future, also in the past, also you see all the civilization. For example, Indus Valley civilization, Aryans, or the Mahajanapatas, etc. Everybody flourished in and around rivers, because without water there is no sustenance. People cannot live. Okay, so you have to understand that. Am I clear? Let's move to the next. This was the talk actually of the last 1 week or so regarding the Special Marriage Act. Why? Because there was a case in Supreme Court related to same-sex marriages, whether the Supreme Court will legalize it or not. So Supreme Court has told that such kind of thing is not under the purview of judiciary. Actually, it is not judiciary who should validate whether whether a marriage can be legalized or not. What the court actually do, the court actually verifies an act and give a solution to that. Okay, formulating a policy, formulating a law is not under the purview of the court. God gives judgments on certain laws. When a law is made, they will look whether this is valid as per our Constitution of India. That's why the court has told that it is up to the legislature and executive to come up with same-sex marriage thing. So the act, see, sometimes in UPSC you might not get a question regarding same-sex marriage. Okay, even though the court has told a verdict on, but on what provisions did the Supreme Court give a verdict? It was basically keeping Special Marriage Act. See, in Hindu Marriage Act, Muslim Marriage Act, etc., there is no mention of any, same-sex marriage thing. So where it can be included was in Special Marriage Act only. So first we have to understand what is Special Marriage Act. Okay. So a Special Marriage Act is a law in India that allows individuals of different religion, nationalities to marry each other. There is one more, there is Muslim, there is Hindu, there is also Christian Marriage Act. Okay, under the Hindu, there are different other mentioned. For example, there are, Sikhs are mentioned. Okay, there are six Jains, Buddhists, these people are included inside the Hindu Marriage Act. Okay, so the personal laws, I think we have earlierly discussed regarding the Uniform Civil Code, okay, UCC. In the UCC, there was discussion about coming up with one act which will replace all these acts, and there will be one act but that is under the cloud. Now we don't know what will happen to Uniform Civil Code, but Special Marriage Act, see, it allows individuals of different religion. For example, if there is a Hindu and a Muslim, they have to marry each other. They can use the Special Marriage Act to marry each other. If not, a Muslim might have to change to a Hindu, or a Hindu might have changed to Muslim for marriage. So that is Special Marriage Act. So that is a law which allow individuals of different religions to marry each other. Personal laws such as Muslim, Hindu Marriage Act require either the spouse to convert to religion of other before marriage. That is what I discussed now. However, for couples who register under this act are not required to change the religion. That means for people who marry under the Special Marriage Act, they should not or they need not change their religion. The two people can marry by standing in their own religion. A Hindu as Hindu itself, a Muslim as Muslim itself can marry each other using the Special Marriage Act. Then this act also provides for divorce also. Okay, the Special Marriage Act gives provisions for marriage, and also that will give provisions for it also give provisions to divorce and other maintenance also. Okay, that is also being discussed under the Special Marriage Act. Okay, so it was acted in 1954 and came into effect in 1950. It is applicable to Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, Christians, etc. The Act provides for registration of marriages, which gives legal recognition to marriage and provides a number of legal benefits and protection to couples. Couples such as inheritance rights, succession rights, personal security benefits. These are all personal laws. Okay, after marriage, you might have discussed, you might have seen it in news, you might have seen it with relatives, friends, etc. And when people divorce, there's so much of thing. There is property which has to be distributed. Okay, there should be allowance given to wife by husband. Okay, if an elder one in the family dies, properties, houses will be inherited to their sons and daughters. So that is personal law. Okay, so Special Marriage Act is one of those. which focus on the marriage aspect between people of different religion. Okay, am I clear? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's discuss some of the main parts of this act. Okay, it forbids polygamy. Polygamy means in special marriage act, a person cannot marry more than once. That means if a person is already married without divorce, he cannot marry another person. That means it declares a marriage null and void if either party had a spouse living at the time of marriage. That means just assume person A and person B, they are married with each other. There is no divorce happened to this. So what A do? A secretly tries to marry C. But such a marriage is void, or it is not correct under the law. Why? Because there is no divorce which happened with B. That means a person can legally marry once. Okay, only after divorce or only after the death of that person, he can marry another person. Okay, so it has a spouse living at the time of marriage, or if either of them is incapable of giving a valid consent to marriage due to unsoundness of mind. If a one person, there are different provisions in which divorce can be granted. Okay, that means if a person is not mentally well, a person cannot say that I want to stay in this marriage or no. In such situation, even the court gives divorces. I just mentioned the normal circumstances. Okay, then what are some nuances of the Special Marriage Act, which is kind of counterproductive also? See, Section 5 of the Act specifies that the parties must give written notice to the marriage or the registration officer of the district that at least one of the parties must have lived in the district for the last 30 days. That means, for example, you are going to register your marriage in Delhi. Just assume one of the partner A or B must have lived in Delhi for the last 30 days before applying for a marriage. Okay, that is one condition. Another condition is that it allows any person to object to the marriage before the expiration of 30 days from the date of notice publication. See, a person goes and give a request to marriage officer regarding marriage, that then they will be given a day, around 30 days will be given, after which they can register the marriage, and a notification of the same will be put in place on the notice board of the registrar office. And in this 30 days there can, people can come and raise objections to such a marriage. Okay, so this is actually counterproductive because this is used by many to threaten the people from marriage. Okay, having small throat infection. So, see, what are the issues with the act in India? In India, the societal norms and prejudices often favor traditional marriages that conform to religious and caste customs. In their faith or in their caste, marriages can face significant social stigma and resistance. You might be seeing something called as, love jihad happening, in which Muslims or Hindus are never allowed to marry with each other. Many states have already came up with laws with related to intercaste marriages, okay, which can result in pressure, discrimination, even violence against couples. In North India, many couples are even murdered by even their family. I mean, their father, mother, or brother, for marrying against their wishes or marrying people of other community. Okay, the requirement to publish a notice about the intended marriages raises privacy concern, and couples may feel uncomfortable about disclosing their personal information publicly. The provision Special Marriage Act for the publication of marriage notice Let me see that it is told that a 30-day notice period is given. So when this 30 days is given, the couples have to wait at least 30 days for registering this marriage. And in this 30 days, this is mentioned in the notice board of the registered office. So what happens? This can lead to harassment and threats from the family members. If they come to know, they can create problems. They can, keep the spouse, or can keep the people at house arrest kind of thing. Okay, and they are forced to abandon their powers. They are threatened that they will be killed, or they may be kept in danger. Their family will be harassed. There are different ways in which the family can exert pressure against the people. And the 30-day notice period can cause delays in solemnization of marriage. This waiting period can be a source of anxiety and can deter couples from choosing to marriage under the act. Okay, so that is the issues with that. So what the people, especially called as the queer couple or the couple from the same sex, they want to make their marriages legal under the Special Marriages Act. Actually, the Supreme Court have told that that is not under the purview of court, because such kind of judgment should happen through legislature. That means the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha should discuss and come up with a law to make that legal. Actually, it was a split decision. What do you mean by split decision? Anybody? What do you mean by split decision? Anybody? What do you mean by split decision or a split verdict of Supreme Court of India? Anybody?
It's a different opinion by the different judges.
Yeah, obviously, that is the right thing. That means here there were 5 judges. Okay, 3 actually were against, and 2 were in support of including that in the Special Marriage Act. Even though these 3, they were not completely against the same-sex marriages. See, what they told that it is not under the power of Supreme Court to include that into the Special Marriage Act. Rather, it is under the power of legislature and executive to include that in the Special Marriage Act. Okay, that is one thing you have to understand. So when an act is there, see, they have decriminalized section 377 of CRPC. They have decriminalized that, saying that a relationship between same sex is not a crime. So that is a step in the right direction, but it is under the power of the legislature and the executive to come up with a law which can, make their law, because there are different countries in and around the world that have, supported the same-sex marriages. Okay, that is why this is in the news. Okay, any doubt with related to this with Special Marriage Act?
No, sir, it's clear.
Another thing is painting. See, art and culture is an important thing for your exam. In prelims also there will be question, especially from ancient paintings, writings, etc. And also in mains, in GS paper 1, you can expect questions from paintings. Okay, sometimes it can be paintings, sometimes it can be sculptures. Okay, sometimes it can be even coin. Okay, so every year they will ask one thing at least. Okay, so Patachitra paintings is extremely important because there are different paintings: Patachitra paintings, Madhubani paintings, Warli paintings. You should make a note of it. The main thing you should note in this: what is that painting? Okay, what does that painting do? It is, if it is made on cloth, if it is made on wall. Okay, some it is made on scroll. So different materials these paintings are done. One thing. Second thing you should understand, in which part of India it developed, whether it evolved in Maharashtra or Maharashtra region, whether it has started in West Bengal region, whether it started in the Odisha region. Those are certain things you should understand. So paintings are extremely important, especially in prelims. They can ask you in match the following this paintings. So what do you mean by Patachitra paintings? Okay, it is one of the oldest forms of art. It is one of the oldest forms of art. Where does it originate? It originates from Orissa or the Odisha. That is one thing you have to understand. It originated way back in the 5th century. The earliest records of Patachitra art comes from the village of Puri, which is in Odisha. So what does it mean? The Patachitra means it is a cloth painting. See, it is a cloth painting. That means it is done on cloth and comes from two words, Pata and Chitra. Okay. This type of art form is known as scroll painting and was typically carried out on cloth. You see, scroll is something, it will be cloth itself, but it should be, kept inside a shelf like this. So you can draw the cloth out of it. That is the way a scroll works. Okay. So what are the main thing of pottery? Sometimes you see in paintings, sometimes it can be of kings, gods, etc. Sometimes it can be just geometric designs only. Okay, for example, I forgot the name. There was a cloth which was so famous in the last couple of years, especially women used to use that in chudidar, etc. There was a kalamkari design, kalamkari. That is also a drawing, but kalamkari it will be mainly designs. In Pattachitra paintings, it will be mainly depicting images of Hindu mythological stories, characters, kings, gods like Krishna, etc. So these mainly incorporated Indian customs, rituals, values in a unique and beautiful way that celebrates the Hindu faith and religion. So the Patachitra paintings mainly focused on Hindu belief systems or the mythological stories related to them. That is one thing you have to understand. The traditional art has evolved to appear in clothing and accessories, becoming living part that you can incorporate into your everyday life. Okay, why? See, the artists which used to do this, they have to live, right? So they used to get money just by drawing something and keeping at a home. People seldom buy that. Only the rich buy that. So what they do, they will incorporate their paintings, etc., into things which people use every day. For example, clothing, accessories, for example, bangles, ornaments, etc. That's people use every day. Rather than keeping a painting on a wall, we will try to wear a small paintings in the dress. So that's why these paintings, many of these paintings eventually go to the clothing and accessories. Okay, so I will show you one picture of this Patachitra painting. Okay, so this is one painting. This kind, for example, this can be used in shawls, this can be used in dupattas, even in dhotis, etc. These kind of paintings many a times come. Okay, so this is related to Pattachitra painting. So other paintings which you should know or you should make note are Warli painting, you should know, Madhubani painting, you should know. Then another painting which I forgot, there was a scroll painting in Jammu and Kashmir. Just Google and find out paintings in Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, there is one scroll painting which I forgot the actual name of it. I think it is somewhere related to Dhaka painting or something like that. So there's a scroll painting, especially the importance of that painting is it is done in gold. Okay, that painting is important. Warli, Madhubani. Then you have Patachitra paintings. Then miniature paintings. that means small paintings. Then Tanjavur paintings, that is also done in gold. Okay, Tanjavur painting is there. So just understand where these paintings arouse. Okay, in which part of India this painting is, what are its specialities. Okay, so those are things which you should understand related to paintings. Now, now related to exercise. See, exercises are extremely important when you write your prelims. Okay, because exercises are often asked by the UPSC in prelims. In mains, when you write, you can write these exercises when we discuss about security aspect, and also when we have a question related to relations between two countries. If an exercise is specifically between India and a country, you can mention a question. When a question is related to India USA relation, you can specifically mention any exercises which happen between these two countries. Other than that, exercises comes important when you write your prelims. Why I always say when giving a topic, why I discuss about prelims and mains is that you should understand where you can apply this knowledge. That is the most important thing. Rather than see in UPs, rather than just mugging up of all information, knowledge, etc., won't help you. There is something called a smart study rather than hard work. The priority should be smart study. We should pick areas which are more rewarding. Okay, exercises are one thing. Okay, understanding a handful of main exercises. For example, here you are discussing Milan. Similarly, another important exercise which you should know in detail is the Malabar exercise. Okay, that is also a exercise in which India is involved. Okay, your homework for this is understand about Malabar exercise. So, regarding Milan exercise, the Ministry of Defense recently notified that Navy will host. See, the exercise can be three in nature, okay, or even four in nature. One can be of Army, then you can have Air Force, then you can have the Navy. So exercise Milan is basically done by Navy. Then there can be trilateral exercises. That means all the three can be involved. Or there are instances in which two are also involved. Another exercise is by Coast Guards. That means it is a part of a defense force or police force which take after the areas of the coastal part of India. In India, if you see coastal, see this part, that means it near to the sea. These area are patrolled by coast guards. Okay, you can see them in white uniforms and all. They used to protect the Indian coast from activities like drug trafficking, piracy, etc. They discuss. So you have to understand whenever you see an exercise, you have to make it clear what kind of exercise it is. Is it Army? Is it Navy? Is it Air Force? Or is it a trilateral one? Or is it done by the Coast Guard? That is the first thing. So here, exercise Milan is done by Navy. Navy will host the exercise Milan series in February 2023 actually. Okay, 3 is mentioned. Which is likely to witness the largest ever participation, which is around 50 countries. Okay, in 2022, it was around 39 countries, but this time it is assumed to be at least 50 countries. So it is a multi-country participation. For example, there is Operation Shakti, etc., Surya Kiran, etc. These are some exercises in which India and another country is involved. But exercise Milan, Malabar, etc., these are multi participants. That means there are different countries which are involved in it. Okay, started in 1995. So the venue this time will be Visakhapatnam and it is hosted by Indian Navy. So it is a biennial multilateral naval exercise. Biennial means it happens twice or after 2 years, not twice, after 2 years. That means if it happens in 2021, then it will happen in 2023, then it will happen in 2025. That means it is biennial. Biannual means it happens twice a year. This is biennial, which means happens in 2 years. So it was started by the Indian Navy. Milan 22 was conducted at Visakhapatnam. This is 2000. It is supposed to happen in 2024, not 2023, because the last one happened in 2022. The next one is supposed to happen in 2024. Okay. Okay, it was conducted at Visakhapatnam on February 25 February to 4th March in 2022. It was participated by 39 countries. This time it is assumed to be participated by 50 countries. Okay. So what are the things which gets involved in this exercise? There will be warships, there will be patrol aircraft, there will be submarines of friendly foreign countries. They should participate in the sea phase along with Indian Navy. So what actually means by this exercise? See, there will be different type. Sometimes there can be small competitions. The competition can be with the defense forces. For example, there can be small athletic meet. Okay, there can be strength exercises. So they will compete with each other in a friendly manner. Then what they will do, they will use these, submarines, etc. They will do different stunts, or they will do different kinds in which these weapons are used. So what happens in these exercises is that both of these countries which participate will have a people-to-people contact. They will understand how the different kinds of machineries are used, or how different warships are being done, or warships are being used. So in such a way, the relationship between these countries as well as the technological know-how of the equipments will increase. So that is the main thing of these exercises. And another thing is that it is a show of strength or show of cooperation. When exercises happen, the piracy, etc., will get reduced, because they will understand that as exercises increases, the security of their region increases. So the privacy, etc., stands to reduce during these exercises. Okay, that is one thing you should have to understand. So other you have to homework from this is understand the exercises between India and USA. That is extremely important. India and Russia, France, Nepal, Bhutan. Okay, this you should understand, especially with the United States of India. You should be really thorough with the exercises. Also with India's neighbors, Sri Lanka, Maldives. Just take down a book, make a note. In one page, you will get all the list. Okay, just do that and revise it periodically. That helps in your retention. See, reading this, you will be applying this 1 year later in 2024 prelims or 2024 means. Trust me, you have heard Milan now. By the time you write your exam, when the Milan comes, you might not even remember what it is, because the retention for human brain is very less. So you have to keep on revising that. Take a small book or a book on current affairs. One page is enough to note down all the exercises of India. Just make it a habit to revise it periodically, maybe once in a week or once in 2 weeks. That will help your retention. Okay. Then comes a very important thing, which is actually in prelims as well as mains, or even when you go for an interview, extremely important. That is the air quality index, or the AQI. So why the air quality index comes in news is because India or the Indian cities, Delhi, Mumbai, etc., are considered as one of the most polluted, even more polluted than Chinese cities. Okay, that is why it is in news. So why this air quality index was very recently in news? Because Mumbai's overall air quality index touched 191, which was more than Delhi's 84. 84 is even considered as highly, you know, risky. So it is severe actually. So touching 191 is very high actually. So the Suffer app which shows the air quality index levels in multiple pockets of Mumbai going down to poor category, with most of this pocket being in suburban belt of the city. Suburban means consider this as the urban area having cities, etc. Suburban is this part, just having the pockets or just outside the urban area. These are area are the most polluted. So see, these are the color codes of the air quality index. See, good. Good means it will be green in color. The air quality is safe and poses no health risk to anyone. That means it's very good. 50 to 100 or 51 to 100 is unhealthy. It is a bit more darker green. The air quality is fine. However, sensitive people are still prone to it. Sensitive people, people who are allergic or people who having lung issues may find it difficult. 101 to 150 people who are sensitive to air pollution are at health risk. They can have difficulty in breathing, they can have cough, people can even suffocate. Severe is 151 to 200, which comes in orange color. Even fit and healthy people will catch hold of infection. See, if anybody of you have been in Delhi, especially in the onset of winter, that means in November, December coming. If you happen to travel in Delhi city for 2 days, blood can come out of your nose because it has happened to me when I was there in winter in one of my internships when I was there. The pollution is that much that you cannot see anything in the morning. If you happen to travel by the metro, you cannot see the surroundings because it is by fog. Fog means it will be a mixture of polluted and this winter because in winter there will not be wind. The air will be stagnant. So the pollution levels increases. Okay, so at the time when I visited Delhi, it was of severe category. So there was high, pollution. So it is increasing year by year. Okay, then 201 to 300, it is dangerous. The contaminated air threatens everyone with various health issues, and prolonged exposure to this can result into something called as lung cancer, different lung related issues, high blood pressure, cancer. Okay, different allergic reactions, skin rashes, etc. It happens. Okay. So what is air quality index? It is a number. Actually, it is a number used by the government agencies to measure air pollution levels and communicate it to the population. See, this is a step to make people aware that the air quality is very poor, so it is advisable for the people not to venture out that much into the public. That is a warning kind of thing to make people aware that the air pollution is very bad. So there are 6 AQ categories, namely good, satisfactory, moderately polluted, etc. Then as the AQI increases, it means that a large percentage of people will experience severe adverse health effects. The measurement of AQI requires an air monitor and an air pollutant concentration over a specified averaging period. Each range is assigned a descriptor, a color code, which we have mentioned, and a standardized public health advisory. With each advisory, the government will give notification to the people. See, if you are a person who used to read newspapers, last year the schools in Delhi were shut for 2 or 3 weeks due to the increasing air pollution. Offices will be closed, and there will be increased, work from home being promoted. There is another initiative in which, odd even formula for using the cars, etc. These are certain advisory which comes along with these uh, different levels of AQI. In Delhi, for example, it comes mostly from light and heavy duty vehicle traffic emissions, road dust, solid fuel combustion, heating and cooking, biomass, waste burning, thermal power plants, diesel generation, construction of small scale industry, Delhi and air pollution. See, this is some of the small reasons actually given. Do you know the main reason of pollution in Delhi? Anybody? The main pressing reason.
Sir, due to the stubble burning.
Obviously, the stubble burning which happens in Punjab and Haryana. See, uh, I don't know how many of you guys will be from North India in this session. Most of you guys I presume to be in South India. When we go moving in parts of Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, etc., we might see field. Okay, we might see field where paddy or wheat is grown, and it will be maybe 2 acres, 3 acres, or maybe 5 acres. But we move to Punjab and Haryana, the fields are so large that you cannot see its borders. That much big it is. Okay, that much big and wide it is. It is very difficult for them to take out the residue. So what they will do, they will put everything, they just burn it because it will be dried anyway. So this burning actually during winter season, when western disturbance happens, this fumes will be pushed to Delhi due to the wind system, and that get trapped in Delhi. This will causes high amounts of pollution. This is actually supported with the traffic emissions, road dust, and construction activities, burnings, etc. Because see, in winter there is no wind movement, there is no swift airflow. The airflow is stagnant. That means even a small cough, even a small burning which we do, it stays in the atmosphere for longer duration of the time. It will cause problems. Okay, so that is the main reason. And so in here you have to just understand what is air quality index and different grades of it. Okay, green, orange, red, dark red, etc. Okay, then you have to understand the reasons. Okay, then another important thing you have to understand is the different government initiatives with respect to air pollution. Okay, if possible, try to make a small note, okay, a small note on the different government initiatives with related to climate change or with related to pollution. There are different initiatives actually. There is the National Air Quality Index Standard. It was launched by the Minister of Environment. The initiative constitutes part of government missions to introduce the culture of cleanliness, as air pollution has been a huge concern in the country. National Air Monitoring Program, it covers 240 cities in the country, has been appreciated by the Central Control Board and developed by the Indian Institute of Technology. System of Air Quality, Graded Response Action Plan, Commission for Air Quality Management, reducing vehicular pollution, introducing BS6 vehicles. Actually, we leapfrog from BS4 to BS6. We do not have BS5 situation. Push for electric vehicles, subsidy to farmers buying turbo happy seeder machineries reduces the stubble. See, you have to have good grip on agriculture, trust me. Because I always say agriculture comes in GS paper 3. Actually, it employs around 60% of the people. All the initiatives of the government have a connection in one way or other with agriculture. Even see, India's pollution have its connection with India's agriculture. Food habits have connection to agriculture. Way of living have connection to agriculture. even different government initiatives like PM Kisan, etc. Okay, whatever initiatives government come up with, it has one way or the other connection to the agriculture part. Okay, am I clear? Am I clear? So here, what you have to do is, if possible, I will share the slide. Okay, and after that, make a small note of maybe one paragraph or two paragraph of the different initiatives of this government. Okay, if we can find out another initiatives of controlling stubble burning, there are different other which I forgot. There are other initiatives also of government to control pollution, especially stubble burning. Stubble burning is a very big headache for the government. So understand different initiatives by the government or think tanks in reducing the stubble burning. Okay. Any doubts from this, guys? Can I move to the next slide?
Yes, sir.
Another important area is India Sri Lanka ferry service. Okay. So what do you mean by India Sri Lanka ferry service? India Sri Lanka, you might be knowing the location of Sri Lanka, right? So this is India. I'm not going in detail of the drawing. So this part is Sri Lanka. So it is an immediate neighbor to India, and Sri Lanka is extremely important due to its location in the Indian Ocean because much of the trade touch Sri Lanka and go because it is a halting point for many trade activities. So having a strong relation with Sri Lanka is very much important for India. And why this is in news? Because India Sri Lanka have started a ferry services. What do you mean by ferry? People are taken there and taken back using this ferry service. The historic sea route between India and Sri Lanka has been revived with the launch of a passenger ferry services connecting Nagapattinam in India and Kankenturai in Sri Lanka. That means around 110-kilometer distance is being covered using ferry services. That means big boats will be there to carry people to and fro in this 110 kilometer. Okay, and what is this being done? It is done in promoting tourism and also to promote local trades. See, tourism is extremely important for Sri Lanka because the major revenue of Sri Lanka comes from tourism. That's why during the COVID-19 crisis, Sri Lanka was highly affected because the major revenue was tourism, and when this tourism was disconnected due to the COVID induced lockdowns, Sri Lanka suffered a lot. That, along with other issues like, for example, organic farming, etc., actually destroyed Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka was having economic issues, but without planning, Sri Lanka ensured something called as organic farming completely. See, organic farming is nature friendly. Okay, it is environment friendly, but it is expensive. Okay, it is expensive in nature, and the yield or the output will be less also. So when they continuously started doing organic farming, the economy started taking a hit. That, along with COVID-19 crisis, actually destroyed Sri Lanka's economy, and presently Sri Lanka is facing one of the largest economic crises ever. Okay, then India Sri Lanka ferry services, it is named as Cheriyapani. The service rekindles maritime links dating back to the early 1900s. Actually, this ferry services has actually, disconnected or stopped during the Sri Lankan Civil War. There was a Sri Lankan Civil War with respect to LTTE. Okay, they were occupying the northern part of Sri Lanka, and they were Tamil speaking people mainly. They were having war, which was one of the biggest war or the biggest civil war in the whole world actually. Okay. So there was Indo-Ceylon Express or boat mail which used to travel from Chennai and Colombo, but it was halted in 1982 due to the Sri Lankan Civil War. And after that, it is only in 2022 that we are starting again a ferry services. So where does it connect? It connects Nagapattinam of India, which is in Tamil Nadu, and Kankinturai in Sri Lanka, which is approximately around 110 kilometers. Okay, in this, this can be used especially in a GS paper 2 with relations between India and Sri Lanka, and also India and its neighbors, India's neighborhood policy, etc. In prelims, where it comes important is that they can ask you question, they can give a statement related question that the trade route happens from Nakapattinam and Kankesandurai. Okay, this is one area they can ask you questions. It is 110 kilometers. It is named as Cheriyapani, or they can even ask you a question. Cheriyapani, which was in news is recently, is associated to what? See, after around 6 to 7 to 8 months, you tend to forget this. So make a small note of it and revise it periodically. Okay. They can even ask you the India Sri Lanka ferry services, which started now, is the first ferry services between India and Sri Lanka. Is it? No. There were an Indo-Ceylon Express or boat mail which used to have connection between Chennai and Colombo, which was halted in 1982. So this is not the first. This is actually the second ferry services. So in that way, UPSC can trick you in questions. Okay. So this is the area. See, it starts from here, Nagpattinam, 110 kilometers. It will reach here in Sri Lanka. Okay. So this is one historic step we can say. In this way, India can increase the relationship between Sri Lanka. It is helpful for India's foreign policy, especially India's foreign policy called as India's neighborhood first policy. The neighborhood first policy, which is promoted by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, this can be amplified by using this boat ferry, and also connectivity is being increased, tourism is being increased, trade is being increased. So there are different dimensions to our important. People to people contact increases. There are different initial or different dimensions. This we can consider just as a connecting services, but this can have different dimensions. Okay. Any doubts? Any doubts?
No, sir, it's clear.
Now another important thing which I want to discuss is related to the use of white phosphorus. It was in this especially is helpful for your prelims. Okay. See, when wars happen, especially you might have seen in Russia-Ukraine war, there was cry that different kind of there was something called a suction bomb being used. Similarly, in the Israel-Palestine issue, which we discussed in the last class, in this Israel-Palestine issue, there is a use of something called as white phosphorus. Okay, white phosphorus. So, what is white phosphorus? What is the issue in using it? See, The Human Rights Watch says the Israeli military recently used white phosphorus munitions in Lebanon and Gaza in the war. So it can be delivered through artillery shells, bombs, rockets, or grenades. The white phosphorus will be stuffed in this, and this is colorless, white or yellow, and emits a garlic-like odor. Okay, so this is highly dangerous. Actually, why this is being used is because presently white forest is not banned by international conventions, but it is highly dangerous. It is not categorized as an incendiary weapon intended to cause fire or burns. Instead, it is considered a multi-purpose munition. Okay, okay, yeah. It can be used to attack civil population, but it allows militaries to argue that white phosphorus is used only as a smoke screen, signal, or illuminate a target. Actually, when you see, if you happen to see, army films or army operations, what they used to do when the army come, they used to uh, roll down something which is similar to a bomb, but it will not be bomb. Smoke will be coming out of that. With the problem with that, the people who are there will not be able to see, but the army people, they will be having shield and some kind of glass through which they can see. Okay. Actually, white phosphorus is assumed that they use it like that, but white phosphorus is actually really dangerous in nature because it is highly toxic in nature. Okay, it can burn at extremely high temperature exceeding 800 degrees. If a person is subject to white phosphorus, it is the burn can even reach up to your bone. That means your skins or the flesh will be completely burned. That means, see, just understand, if 100 degrees Celsius boiling water falls on your hand, what happens to it? It will burn and the blisters will come. Even people onto whom boiling water falls get admitted to hospitals and they even die. So just imagine, what do you mean by 800 degrees Celsius? 8 times more lethal than boiling water. It can even melt metal and is often used by militaries to create smoke screen due to fast spreading fires and thick smoke production that can last for about 7 minutes. So that is the dangerous thing related to white phosphorus. White phosphorus is harmful to humans and can cause severe burns penetrating down to the bone. The chemicals can be absorbed by the body, lead to dysfunction to multiple organs including liver, kidneys and heart. See, substances which are absorbed by the human body, the danger do not lie in that generation. It can even be transferred to successive generations. See, the nuclear weapon affected people, especially, and the white phosphorus extra, which when absorbed by the humans, it will stay inside them and that can even be transmitted to the successive generation, which can cause severe deformalities, okay, mental issues to the successive generation. So white phosphorus is such an extremely dangerous thing. Why I have mentioned is that till now it is not banned, but in news and all it is being shown that it is highly dangerous. People are criticizing the Israelis, so we might have a tendency that we might believe white phosphorus is banned. So it is not. UPSC can ask a question in which they can say that white phosphorus is one thing which is banned by international convention, but it is not the so. Till now, it is not banned by international convention. So that is one thing you have to understand. So white phosphorus is a lethal chemical capable of burning human skin and degenerating tissues deep inside the body. It ignites when exposed to oxygen and continues to burn until it is deprived of oxygen or exhausted. See, this is how they are fired. Artilleries are being fired. A burst of artillery fired white phosphorus fall over Gaza City on October 11. This is how this is being done. See, it will burn and it will fall like this. It can cause flash burns, vision impairment. If it is exposed, you can lose your eyesight, inhalation smoke can cause to respiratory distress, burns victims' bodies. The use of white phosphorus as a weapon in areas with civilian population is banned by United Nations, but in war it is not being banned. Okay, using that in a civil population is banned by the United Convention on certain weapons, but during a war, the complete removal of this is not being done anywhere. Okay, am I clear? Am I clear? So there are certain other things which I also want to share with you regarding the note making. Okay, in the newspaper when you read, you must develop a habit to make a small note of it. In the next class, I will be sharing some model copies, if possible, of how you should make a note. The first and foremost thing when you read a newspaper, you should understand in which part of the syllabus that comes. We have already discussed there is GS paper 1, 2, 3, and 4. In which part that news article comes. That is first and foremost thing. Then you have to understand whether this has been previously asked by the question papers or previously asked in UPSC. Then, after reading the article, write down those points which you think you feel like forgetting. For example, some information you might not even forget. It will stay with you for long amount of time. But some, there is a tendency that you can forget it. Those kind you should make note of it. Even you should not leave any of the advertisements which come in the news. Okay, that is also needed for you. Okay, it must be seen whether it is a government initiative, whether it is a central government initiative, whether that supports any part, health, education, etc. In that way, you have to make note. If possible, I will share with your coordinator how about some model answer writing or model note making procedure from newspaper. That is extremely important. And read newspaper on a daily basis. Okay, especially you must read the editorial part. You should never miss, because reading regularly the editorial for 1 or 2 weeks itself can give you clear picture, especially this Israel Palestine which is happening. Trust me, this can be in the coming 4 to 5 years, this can be possible prelims, mains, as well as interview questions. Okay, if it is not in asked in prelims or mains, if happens to be in interview, when you go, you will get a question. So what is happening there? It can only be understood if you continuously read editorial. Why? Every day in editorial, there will be different perspectives of this Israel-Palestine. One person might come and support the Palestinian right. Another person will come and support the Israeli rights. Some people might give a balanced opinion of what is happening. Some people will come and say, what should United States, what should Russia do in it? Another author will come and say, India's role in Israel Palestine. So, see, these are different perspectives of how we should analyze. This can only happen if you read in a regular way, especially the editorial. So, never miss that. Okay. So, that's all for things. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Otherwise, we will wind up today's session.